Welcome back to Crime Besties. Here we are for another episode. We're continuing on from our story that we brought you last week. So if you haven't listened to last week's episode, jot on back there and have a bit of a listen. But before we get into today's full episode, now we are recording this on the same day as we recorded last week's episode. So there's not a huge amount of like, how have you been? Because I already know.
Is there a collective sigh of relief from some people going, oh, fuck, that
Thank
means I'll get into
God.
the case quicker.
And I don't have to listen to their
Have you
bullshit.
met us?
Well, I've got some stories.
I love it.
Last weekend we had my sister-in-law's 40th 2.0. So first time around, she was unable to have her 40th.
Oh, I'm going to call it 3.0 because I remember being at her 40th last year.
What?
Yeah. Yep. We all went to, what was it? It wasn't brunch. It was like, it was a bottomless, it was an evening thing. We're at a, it was really nice. Like,
I am drawing an absolute blank.
yeah, we were at a restaurant all together and when I rocked up and I'm like, so hang on, this is for your 40th, but you're not 40 yet. And she's like, yeah, it's not, but it is. So we just had to have an excuse to like hang out.
I actually don't even remember this.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Anyway, okay, so 3.0 then.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, on the day that she was meant to have her first party, her whole family was struck down with gastro.
That sucks.
And it was like the night before. So, like, as in overnight the night before. So she had to, like, wait until the venue opened and, like, change everything. And, it was just, I really felt for her.
Yeah. No,
but
sucks.
we ended up having it last weekend. And the party was great. Everyone had a really great time. It was a really good venue and everything. But my children discovered the beauty of Uber Eats.
Oh, they've never discovered this before?
Well, no, because like we don't really do it.
No.
As in, if we're going to have takeaway, I'll go up and get it because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
And
it is way cheaper to go and pick it up.
But during COVID, Peter and I had like obviously shoved the kids into bed and order Uber Eats. Like, didn't everyone do that?
Oh, I over Uber Eats it during that time, definitely.
No, you didn't. I feel like everyone probably was in exactly the same boat.
Like, I'm not going. Well, you clearly weren't going to go out. Like you weren't going to.
Couldn't.
No. So yeah, just Uber it. I mean, actually got to a point where I was like, lunch. Maybe I'll Uber lunch.
Yeah.
Because you're working from home. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we'd been at the party and it was an afternoon soiree. So by the time it was time to come home, I'm like, oh, it's dinner time. I'm going to order Uber Eats to be at home at the same time as we get home.
I've done that once before too. That's
oh
so
my
good.
God. The kids just thought all their Christmases had come at once. So we ordered schnitz.
Yeah, right.
Because, I mean, you know, when you've had a bit of a sesh in the afternoon, a schnitz was down an absolute treat, I have to say.
Yeah.
So the kids have ordered whatever they wanted on the app, thought it was great, and get home to a nice hot schnitz waiting at the front door when our Uber dropped us off.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. They're like, can we do this again? I'm like, oh, we'll wait and see, because it literally, Peter actually had gone out. He'd gone somewhere else after Claire's party.
Yeah.
So it was just the three of us. For three of us to have a burger and we had 2 chips, that was it, $80-something.
Yeah.
So it's not an everyday. It's not even an every week thing. But,
No.
you know, now that they know about it,
Yeah, keep it away from them.
I think I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to put a limit on that for sure.
Yeah, it is easy to do. That is for sure.
Yeah.
It is very convenient.
So convenient.
Yeah.
Not always hot.
No, that's
which
my.
isn't great.
There's certain things I won't order like that.
Oh,
because
yeah, you've got to be selective.
Yeah.
My mum and dad won't order Uber Eats because they're worried that the driver or somebody's going to tamper with their food in some way.
Oh, I think we're past that point.
We're
I think
so past that.
That's
and
not
also
what's going
every venue they seal all your shit shut.
Yeah, they put the little sticky things on there.
Yeah. Like nobody's eating your chips, Ross. Don't worry. It's fine. God. Anyway, speaking of food, this sort of follows on, but today is my father-in-law's birthday and we're having them all over for dinner tonight, and Peter's decided to make Korean fried chicken burgers. They are amazing. They're so
would be
yum.
so good.
But we just got our Woolies delivery before and they didn't have any kimchi. So Peter's had to go out to the Asian grocer and get some kimchi. It was like an essential ingredient and they didn't have it.
And with him going down there like to the Asian grocers though, he's not coming home just with kimchi.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
There'll be an assortment of noodles for sure.
Yeah, that's his thing. He'll add to it. Yeah.
He'll get instant noodles too.
Yeah.
So like ramen. God only knows what else he'll come back with.
Yeah. But you know what? Let him.
Oh, absolutely.
Because that could be a future great meal that he's going to cook later.
Yeah, he is very good with his Asian cooking. I'll give him that.
Yes.
So, yeah, we're in for a bit of a treat tonight. It'll be
Oh,
nice.
I might hang around.
Oh, you're more than welcome to. Can you imagine your kids? What are you having for dinner tonight? Korean fried chicken
burgers.
Like, Mason couldn't even.
Oh, he'd be like out the door.
Yeah, he couldn't be in the house.
That smells like it might have smells.
Yeah. Yeah, he'd be like, yeah, no, I'm not going over there.
Yeah,
no. That's a hard no from me. I won't take it personally, Mason.
No.
Oh, it's funny. Very, very funny. I've got some more shout-outs. Oh, do you have any stories to fill us in on for the week that you can think of? I'm putting you on the spot here.
Yeah, my brain's done.
Fair enough. I'll go to the shout-outs then.
Cool.
So we've got some new Patreons. We've got Rue Lindsay, who I think we mentioned in an episode a couple of weeks ago for liking all of our like Instagram posts and I think TikTok as well.
Catching up on there.
Catching up on everything. And she said that she normally listens while she's in the car, so she hadn't had a chance to like go and like all of our stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's now become a Patreon, so thank you. We've got Angela Shassa and Clea R. Gao. I hope that's how you say your name. I'm sorry if I haven't said it right. Let me know and I'll try it again. We also have some peeps over on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok who've been really engaged in our content as well. We've got Ricky. Oh my God. Ricky. We've got Hidden Acres and Claire Louise. So thank you to everybody who's engaging with our content in some way or another. It really goes a long way to getting our content out there, especially comments on the podcasting apps that you're listening to. That makes a huge difference.
Comments on Spotify have actually like skyrocketed lately. It's amazing. So we're loving all that. We try and get there as much as we can to get responses back to you because, I mean, the conversations that get started there are really great.
Yeah, please keep them coming.
Yeah, even if it's just to, hang shit on us. We take those too.
Oh, far out. We got a good one this week. I woke up. Had you seen it the night before?
I'd seen it because I stay up later. Sorry, I did see it come through at night. And I actually did, though, like literally what you sent me, the screenshot of it. I'd already screenshot it the night before going, I'm sending that to Emma when she wakes up. But you got to me before
I screenshot it. I said to her, I'm like, well, good morning to us. Some nasty comment. But you know what?
Oh, I love
we'll take it because it's still, the algorithm likes any comment, good, bad or indifferent. So.
Yeah, it doesn't read them. Oh, no, I loved it. I saw it come through and just I literally laughed out loud.
Me too. The comment was something along the lines of, are you two on drugs?
Yes, that's right. Are you two on drugs? Oh, God. I wish.
It'd actually be a lot more helpful.
Oh, totally.
I love it.
Oh,
love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, today we are sort of getting into... Last week we spoke about the Pettingill family and we were really mostly concentrating on Kath and Dennis. Yeah. So Kath being the matriarch, Dennis being her eldest son and their crimes and sort of what came of that.
Yes.
Today we are more focusing on Victor Pierce and his family.
So Victor was her sixth child.
Yeah. And his wife... de facto Wendy Pierce, and the crimes that they are. But most notably, I suppose, is the Walsh Street police shootings.
Yeah.
I think, Victor Pierce's name is synonymous with that case, even though he was acquitted of it, but we'll get to all of that in a minute. These people fascinate the shit out of me.
I just said to you, every time I look for something on them, more comes and it's juicier or it's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. It is actually unbelievable. You can't believe people live like this, say these things, do these things.
There was a quote from one article that I read that says that for 3 decades their lives have been beyond bizarre and almost beyond description. And that, I think, really does sum it up. It is incredible.
I agree. It's so... You couldn't write this shit.
No way. No, these are bigger than that.
Yeah.
Oh God, my brain literally explodes every time I read stuff about them.
Right?
Yeah.
I think we'll start off by talking about the Walsh Street shootings, and then we can go back and give you a bit more of a background on Victor and Wendy.
As we sort of meet them across this story.
That's exactly right.
Oh,
so
God.
The Walsh Street police killings took place on the 12th of October in 1988. And it was a situation whereby 2 very junior police officers by the names of Stephen Tynan and Damien Eyre were murdered in cold blood.
Yeah, cold blood, absolutely.
And with little opportunity for defence. I actually believe Stephen Tynan was murdered by his own service revolver.
Yeah, it pulled out of his own
holster. So you just can't even imagine. It's unfathomable, you know, the thought of these crimes. I almost liken it to like what we're experiencing in Victoria now, and this is something that I think everybody would know about, and I'm hoping by the time this episode comes out there's been some resolution to.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the Desi Freeman Porpunka murders of those two, or alleged murders of those two police officers.
Yeah.
I've seen, you know, you see the outpouring and the devastation of that, and it's incredible. My in-laws actually live very close to the police academy in Victoria.
Yeah, in Willers Hill there,
in Willers Hill.
Yeah.
And they said for both of the funerals of those officers, they closed down the street, but there were enough police officers doing a guard of honour of the coffin as it was being driven out of the church, out of the chapel, the police chapel up there at the academy, that it went for the entirety of that road.
Wow.
It was just an insane number of people. There were thousands of police officers.
And they come out in droves for that stuff because, well, I mean, it's their own, and every one of them feels that, whether they knew them personally or not. It's, I mean, they do a job for the community in the hope that that's not the outcome for any of them. That's not the you know, even in the criminal world, it is a real no-no to kill police.
Yeah.
It's not actually something that typically is what goes on. That whereas this was an execution style of like killing, which this one that we're going to talk about today, and the one with Desi at the moment, there's so many other outcomes that could have come from that rather than killing people. And to kill people who go about their job to protect people is just beyond atrocious.
Oh, it's the lowest of the low.
Yeah.
And, you know, our thoughts are with all of the police officers serving in Victoria, serving past and present, I suppose. And, yeah, the thoughts of it. But it really, reading about this case this week really made me think, you know, there's so many parallels in this situation.
Yeah.
And these two young constables were just trying to do their job.
Yeah.
They were called out to a car that was abandoned. I believe the boot was open, or was it the bonnet?
The bonnet was open, and it was parked like in the middle of the road too. So it was blocking cars from going either direction down the road. There was no way of sort of passing it. The doors were left open of the vehicle as well to, again, block further that cars couldn't go around it.
It was at night time, and so all of the lights, the interior, because all of the doors were open, the interior lights were on, and the person who rang 000 to report that there was this car, you know, in the middle of the road, basically said, "Oh, there's no one in it."
No,
because they could see into it because the lights were on and it was dark outside.
And at that hour of the morning, like he'd left his house at about 4:30, and he'd seen the car there and actually went up on his way and left, going, "That's odd." Like, you know, car's obviously been. He just immediately was like, "Oh, that car's obviously been stolen and dumped, and run out of fuel, and they've ditched the car," like kind of thing. So he wasn't in any rush necessarily to report it because it was so early in the morning that no one else much was on the road, and it was clearly, you know, a dumped situation that there was no one there. It wasn't like an immediate threat kind of
something's
thing.
happened,
Something's
or
happening
someone's had a
currently
crash
right now, you know. So he drove off and drove to work or the gym. I want to say the gym.
I feel like it was the gym.
Yeah, he was going to the gym. It wasn't until he got there that he went, "I'll ring about that car now that I'm here." Like, and so he called the police and reported it and said, "Yeah, I believe it's a stolen car sitting there." You know, no one was in mad rush to get there. But yeah, your two young constables were got the call, and I say young, I mean Damien Eyre was 20, and Stephen Tynan was just 22. So Stephen had been in the job a couple of years, whereas Damien, I believe, was only about 6 months into his stint of being on the job. So he'd obviously done the academy, and then this was his, you know, first
posting.
real posting of being out on the road. So these were just your real run of the mill on the ground uniform cops. Going out to check a very routine kind of thing. No element of this appeared to be a threat.
Well, no more than general policing, I suppose.
Absolutely. Yeah. There was no perceived threat by walking to this car. From the way things were found, all cops say literally these guys did to the letter what they are supposed to do in a situation like this. The way they left their car was their car as they pulled up, how the car was left, their vehicle was left with the lights the way it was to ensure that they had light on what they were looking at, that it was protecting them, all those sorts of things was all done as accurately as the procedures would be to go to this kind of routine check.
Okay.
Yeah. So on the morning, obviously, the guys of both the two police officers approached the car, and I believe it was Stevens reached into the car. He was the one inside the car.
Yes.
Yeah. He got into the car to check the vehicle, whilst Damien was on the outside of the car searching the exterior of the car just to see, taking down the number plate, checking out the vehicle, what was there and what had been left, so that it was a safe place. So while Stephen is inside the vehicle and he's checking how the car had been hot wired, obviously, and that's all that was, and he was checking the vehicle for other things, Damien's then come to his door, and as Damien has come to his door, a shot fires and literally hits Stephen in the head. One shot. So Damien is left there. He then turns immediately to see where this has come from, and he has, I think, as he's turned, he's got a gun to his head, and another perpetrator has come from another angle and he's grabbing at his weapon. So that's where his gun is taken from his holster, and 2 shots are fired into him. So 3 gunshots were used to eliminate the 2 police officers. Another 3 shots were fired in that battle between Damien and the perpetrators, one hitting a house and the other 2 ricocheting off into the street as well. So 6 shots fired in total. Absolutely horrendous. I can't even imagine being approached in that way, and the fear that, particularly Damien, who had no idea that where this was coming, he had battle, and witnessed the first one and then had to deal with that immediate shock of what he's got to deal with.
Here.
Yeah, whereas if there's anything in this, Stephen at least had no knowledge.
Although he didn't die straight away, he was
he
was taken to the Alfred Hospital,
right.
And he went into surgery, I believe, and it was found when he was in surgery that there was no way they were able to save his life.
Yeah.
And Damien died at the scene.
Yeah. Wow. So yeah, not good. Not at all. And this immediately by the police force was condemned entirely, but obviously they were all in a bad way. This was an absolute execution style killing, as in it had been a purposeful draw police to this area for them to be killed.
Yes. And the thing, I guess, is they didn't know who was going to attend. No. So they just wanted to kill.
They weren't after a particular police officer that had wronged them. It was just a police officer.
Yeah.
Or 2.
2, yeah.
Yeah.
It's horrific. It's absolutely horrific.
Yeah.
It was believed, I guess so, when the police started investigating this and trying to figure out exactly what happened, a lot of theories were bandied about, but it was widely believed that it was a revenge for the police shooting of one of the Pettingills associates named Graham Jensen, and he'd been murdered the day before, about 13 hours before
prior.
This happened.
Yeah, there'd been a robbery, and so there was Graham Jensen was part of a crew with Victor Pierce and Trevor Pettingill, and there was a number of other associates in a group called the Flemington crew that they had been labelled and who were armed robbers. They committed. This is a totally different time, back in the 80s, where armed robbery was huge. It
was more than homicide. So
yes,
I think it's worth having a think about the time as well.
Yeah.
So we're talking about a fully cash society. You got paid wages in cash.
Yeah.
Everything was in cash. There wasn't a lot of credit card transactions or electronic transfer of funds, that wasn't a thing really. So you can imagine how much cash was going around, how much cash banks had in their vaults and whatever at the time.
Yeah.
And this Flemington crew would do all of these armed robberies. They mostly targeted banks. And I'm not talking like shitty little bank. They targeted big banks where they knew there was big money to be had.
Yeah.
They mostly stayed from the city out east because there was another crew who dealt with the banks in the west, you know, who robbed the banks in the west.
Yeah.
But they would, in one bank robbery, they would get like $200,000 in cash.
Yeah.
Like an insane amount of money. And this is in the 80s. Like this is $200,000 in the 80s. And then they'd use that cash, they'd get a bit low, they'd go and do another armed robbery. I've heard as well that the Flemington crew treated this like a job. So they would go out during the day, you know, do the right thing, go and scope out the next site and do their homework and figure out when money came in, when money went out. And they really were quite, I guess, professional. Is that professional criminals in that sense?
Yeah.
And it's just, you know, go out and get a fucking legitimate job. I mean, I guess you're not earning $200,000 a pop when you're doing that, but for fuck's sake.
Oh, the risk of it though.
The risk.
Yeah. I mean, and it was a very different time in the sense of the cops and how they interacted with these criminals too. And so there were, you know, unfortunately there were security guards who were killed by the robbers, by the armed robbers at the time. So there was definitely, they were potentially, if they were caught, it wasn't just armed robbery, but it was also murder and things like that was connected to this. But the police were kind of doing a few dodgy things too. And they would line things up a little bit and, you know, and shoot people if they had an opportunity.
Yeah.
So there was lots of, on both sides, dodgy things going on.
I've heard Narelle, our favourite Narelle Fraser, talk about this. And she was saying at the time, the robbers, which is what the armed robbery squad were called, like that was their nickname, the robbers were seen as being like top tier detectives. Yes. They had a uniform. They would wear, so, I mean, not an actual uniform, but they would all wear white short sleeve shirts, black slacks, and they actually did have an armed robbery squad tie that was black.
Yeah.
And they would all wear the same thing. And they just, black. And apparently they were like jacked.
They all thought their shit didn't stick a bit.
Yeah, and they were like really built, you know, worked out. It was a culture. And they were seen as being the hardest of the detectives, even more so than homicide detectives. Yep. Like they were top of the tree.
Which is so interesting to now think, like, I don't even know. I think there is no armed robbery squad now. It's now dealt with through
within
other
the CIB
avenues.
Or something,
Yeah, because there isn't the need for it.
Yeah.
Whereas it was so high need.
But what are you going to rob from a bank these days?
This
like
is
$30 that they've got in their drawer. Like nobody uses cash these days. It's very you need to cybercrime it. That's what you need to do.
So then that's dealt with the cybercrime squad.
That's right.
You know?
Exactly.
It's not armed robbery.
Yeah,
and
that's it.
Yeah, it's not even existing anymore. Yeah. But in this era, it was huge, and it was a major problem here in Melbourne. The armed robberies that were going on. As I said, there were murders involved with it because it was dangerous. I mean, I don't know why you'd want to work at a bank, but it was a good job to work at a bank. And
it was kind of looked at as quite a prestigious place to work. But
God, how scary! Because
terrifying.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely
they had
terrifying.
You know, they had security measures in place, but these guys worked around all that stuff.
But it also wasn't at a time like this was before the times where they had those like pop-up window things that you know there was not a lot of deterrent aside from having these security guards at the doors and stuff. Like that's basically all there was. And other than that, they've got their tellers who are so vulnerable sitting there.
Yeah.
So that gives a bit of context as to the time and what was going on at the time.
Sorry, I can't help it. My brain started going into like Point Break, like for robbers. Sorry, my brain's just a little bit fried.
You're doing great. You're doing great. You're doing great.
Okay.
So the police have started to put together a bit of a case of what they think has happened. And as we said, they are really looking at this Flemington crew. And they ended up charging 4 men in relation to these execution murders of Stephen and Damien.
We should say too, I mean, the investigation into this went for 2.5 years. It wasn't
quick.
It wasn't quick. There was
Because none of the crims talk.
no, and at one stage they had hundreds of police officers working on this, and there was when this occurred, the police were so gung ho, like they were finding who did this and going to bring them to justice. There were your local cops and that sort of stuff. Were like, I'm doing double shifts. I'll take every shift possible. They wanted everyone on the ground. They were going to find who did this and bring them in. It was a massive at the time. It was the longest running and biggest operation that they had happen in the Victorian Police.
Wow.
So they named their what do you call it, like their task force that they call them. They named it Thai Air. I'll get it right because they used the two guys' names and put them together. Obviously, Tynan and Air. So they named the task force Thai Air. But it was huge. They were mad on getting these guys. As you say, they were very quick to put together that they thought it was linked to the Pettingills, to the point where they raided the Pettingills' house the next day. And so they were already on high alert, the Pettingill family then, that obviously they were being looked at. So it was... They weren't nervous though, really. Like it wasn't. No. But even in those early days, they found the cops sort of like basically went, well, there's a weak link here potentially in the youngest of the Pettingill crew, and that was the nephew of the Pettingill children, Jason Ryan. So at the time he was only 19.
Yeah, he was I think he was just 19.
Just 19.
Yeah.
So, and as we mentioned in our previous episode, he was involved and witness to many horrific things. Many.
He grew up in this world.
He did grow up in this world.
And was exposed to way more than any child ever should be.
Way more. But he didn't really want to be involved in it.
Nope.
And so when he was brought in by the cops, look, it took a fair bit of going with him. And they, again, probably didn't do the right thing also here. But Jason was keen to, like, not be involved in this stuff, as I say. But his story of what he was telling didn't really add up. But he gave a little bit of information that the cops were like, okay, we can use you. But the story kept changing. And why it kept changing, we don't really know. And what was creating that. Whether it was the pressure of the fact that he knew he'd been in a lot of trouble for talking, as we said.
I think that's exactly what it is.
So he would be very concerned about the implication of what would occur from that. And there was a lot of talk. So because he'd been in, they knew, the Pettingill family knew that he'd been pulled in by the cops and being spoken to. That was known. And then this is the thing, I feel a bit sick for him in this, that the cops would pull him in and then they'd send him back to them, knowing that as a 19-year-old, literally he could turn up dead the next day.
Yep.
There is no question. And I know that Jason would know that too. He would have known that was highly likely in his situation.
Yeah.
His only tie here of not being killed is that he's blood.
Yep.
But how much is that going to get you? How far is that going to get you?
If you're a snitch, I don't think it'd get you anywhere.
This is it. And so he knew that too. That would have been bloody scary. So at this point in time, his mum, who is Vicky, she was protective of her son, but very much sat on the fence. And she played it well, I think, of defending her siblings, but also protecting her son and being on both sides. So that would have been really tricky for her to manage as well, because then she's also going to, if she picks her son, she could end up dead too. Absolutely awful. So the cops keep playing on him at this point. They end up taking him off for a 4-day stint for a chat. I don't think that's legal. I don't know.
Not these days.
I mean, he
for
willingly
sure. I don't
went,
know back
I guess.
then.
So like he didn't say no. So I guess that's where maybe
But
they
then
got around
surely
it.
there's like an amount. I actually don't know
Because he's not under arrest at that point. He wasn't under arrest.
So he was free to
still.
go at any time.
I guess so.
But maybe he didn't know that.
I think so. He didn't have a lawyer.
No.
That's for sure.
But then don't you think it's curious that the family didn't insist on him having their lawyer? Because at least then they could have manipulated him from the inside then.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He didn't have any legal representation.
No. But I guess in their world, if you're going to talk and we'll deal with you.
it. Yeah.
And so it wasn't about having a lawyer there to stop him. I don't know. But from all accounts, he went off on this 4-day trip with the cops, and he came back a bit of a broken man with the bruises to show. So I don't think he was treated real well. It wasn't a camping trip off with your mates, that's for damn sure. No. So again, the cops were sort of like, his story is good enough for us, but it's not really there.
Yeah. We can't really go to a judge with this.
No, although it was good enough that they decided to charge Jason.
Yeah.
So they charged Jason with the murders of the 2 constables, but they weren't done with. They weren't just going to get. They knew there was more than one person involved. So as much as they're charging him with it, he's still out because they still need to collect more information.
Yeah.
So this is where it just continues on for years. They're gathering more and more information.
It was 2.5 years, was it, by the time they actually charged the rest of the men? So they charged Victor Pierce, Trevor Pettingill, Peter McAvoy, and Anthony Farrell. So they were the members of this Flemington crew, I guess.
Yeah.
And what they ended up... This is where all of this bizarre shit gets in. So let's just get into a little bit of a background about Victor Pierce and Wendy, and then we can go from there. Do you reckon?
Okay. Yeah, sure.
So Victor Pierce was born on the 11th of November in 1958, and he was Kath's 6th son. And he actually ended up having 5 children of his own, 4 to Wendy. Yeah,
4 to Wendy.
And so that was Christopher Pierce, Victor Pierce Jr., Katie Pierce, Matthew Pierce, and then Vinnie Pierce, who was actually named after a judge, but we'll talk about that later. Yeah, the judge who acquitted him.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. That's just, what the fuck?
Yeah, and I believe Vinnie was actually born while Wendy was in prison.
Yeah. I think that might be the pregnancy that comes up.
Okay, all right, we'll get to that in a sec.
Yeah.
So, as we said, Victor's the 6th child of Kath Pettingill, so we already know what kind of family he's been born into. With his de facto partner, Wendy, so she took on his name by deed poll, I believe.
Yeah.
So they were never actually married.
Which is the same as like Pettingill in terms of the Kath. And
I don't even know that she legally took on his name, but everyone knows her as Kath
only know her as
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. He was convicted for drug trafficking and served a 6-year sentence during the 90s for that. So he was a bit of a seasoned crim in and of himself. But he came out from that conviction and he actually worked as a bodyguard for Frank Benvenuto, who was a kingpin in the gangland sort of scene.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of leave Victor there. Or do you have anything else you want to discuss about Victor?
I think that's
fine. A lot more will come up as we go along.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's married de facto with Wendy. She, at the time of them arresting those they thought responsible for the Walsh Street shootings, was working with the police.
Well, she was arrested for a pretty awful crime.
Yes.
And then they used that to their advantage.
Yes.
Yeah.
So are you talking about which crime are you talking about for that?
Which one? Because she's done some stuff.
She's done some really nasty shit. So
yes.
Which one was she arrested for that?
I want to say it was a stabbing.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no. Okay. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. She was in a lot of trouble. She was going to go down for it.
Yeah.
And they said to her, we'll give you immunity for that as long as you talk to us about what went on with the Walsh Street killings.
Yeah. So at this time, Victor was such a prominent armed robber that they never really stayed at home. They had a home in Rowville in the eastern suburbs of Melbourne, and they very rarely stayed there because they were so involved in all of this shit, and obviously they had people wanting to come after them. So they actually used to take their 5 fucking kids and stay in hotels all around. They'd move, they'd go and whatever. So they were actually staying at this particular time at a hotel in Tullamarine near the airport in Melbourne. And Wendy, when she was first questioned, said that Victor was there with them all night on the night of these shootings.
Yeah.
She's then been done for this, I think it was the stabbing, I think you're right. And she is then obviously going down the path of probably being in prison for life.
She was looking at pretty serious time. Yeah.
And the police have come up with this deal because all they wanted to do was solve these police shootings.
Yeah,
That's all
and
they
at the time when I was reading about this too, I'm like going, that poor person who went through that, because I believe it was horrific, that they ended up, that's just like, it's so
it's a blip.
It's just ignored in all of this of like even what that crime was and all those sorts of things because they like wanted to get these Walsh Street killings, which I get, you want to get them, but at the sacrifice of someone else getting their person for who has attacked them, which is, I think, wrong.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. But I guess they really were staunch about getting this crime solved. So they offered her a deal, as you said, and she provided them with a 30-page statement.
She sang.
Oh, didn't she? About everything.
Yeah, and it's all on interview, like all on tape. Yeah.
And she even said, like, you know, there were days where we had $200,000 in our house in cash and we did this and we did that, and I saw him sawing off shotguns in the back shed, and I've seen him with guns. I've seen him with these notorious criminals. He definitely left the hotel in Tullamarine that night and didn't come back until, till the early hours of the following day. So 30 pages of just like spewing out everything.
Like prime eyewitness statement stuff like that clinches their entire like case against him.
So the prosecution are like, fucking A.
She named all the other perpetrators, because there are actually 6 that were named originally.
Yep.
The other 2 that we haven't spoken of yet were Gary Abdullah and Jed Horton.
Yep.
Now, we can get to them and why they weren't in the eventual 4 that were put on trial.
Yep.
But, so she named all of them, and so it put them all into the mix of being able to be looked at of exactly who is involved in this and what their roles were. So she sang like a canary, as you say. They had their prime witness. So along with her and then what they had from Jason, they were looking at a pretty good, solid case.
Yeah.
They put Wendy in protective custody. She spent 18 months in protective custody in total, building up to the trial, because they knew that Wendy she would be killed immediately for speaking and what she had said. The cops were hesitant about putting Jason into protective custody because his story kept changing and things like that, and he wasn't as reliable. And they were dangling that with him of like, I think they really wanted him shit scared because they wanted more out of him.
That's right.
That they didn't give him protective custody as easily as they did Wendy because she came forward all in. Oddly enough, I don't know. Yeah.
So what actually happened when they went to trial, Meg?
Okay. Well, even just before we get to trial, so the other 2 men who we just spoke about, in all of this, obviously this is over 2.5 years of investigating this. They were still committing other crimes and things.
Oh yeah.
So in that, Gary Abdullah was killed during another incident. So he was in an armed robbery and he was shot in that. And then Jed Horton was also killed by police. So these were both killed by police in the meantime in this time frame. Jed Horton, unfortunately, I believe he was at a holiday park out in Ascot and near Bendigo, and he was killed by police there. They said that he had a gun, and so they shot at him. But other police officers since have actually come forward and said that shotgun was
unarmed.
planted afterwards
Yeah.
by police.
So he was, I think they said he had a gun in his car or something, and then the gun was planted afterwards.
Which, police officers have come
Allegedly.
forward since and said that.
Yeah.
But so all these extra killings of, the Flemington crew in the meantime also was, setting off Victor something shocking that he was losing all his mates. I'm just going to throw in here. So the guy that originally died, Graham Jensen, who they sort of said that these two cops being killed was a revenge act of that.
Yeah.
So according to the Underworld, there had been this kind of discussion of like all these criminals being shot by police, that it was this, there was sort of the talk along the lines of the next time one of our guys gets shot by them, we kill two of theirs, right?
Okay.
So that was where this sort of all came from, of like when Graham Jensen was shot, Victor was like, that's it, I'm coming good on our decision to do that. We're killing two of the cops, we're out for one of ours, that this has to end, this back and forth, we'll do it by killing two of theirs. So, but Graham Jensen, Victor's best mate, he was having an affair with Wendy.
I know.
So,
But
how much for
Victor
best mate?
didn't know that though. He would have killed him himself. If
This
he
is
had
it.
known
I
that.
just kind of go, this has all come about. You're like defending your best
Yeah.
mate. He was having an affair with your not wife, de facto.
Well,
but
might
as well be.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
just these people.
I know.
Yep.
None of these details. It's just you can't write this stuff. You can't write this stuff.
No.
All right, so we've now got to the point where we've got 4 remaining alive.
Yep.
Suspects who are charged.
Oh, sorry. We should say also. So Jason, obviously, he was originally charged as well with this.
Oh, yes.
So his story eventually he eventually admitted to that he had stolen the car originally, and that was used in luring them in. He whether or not this is true either, the cops are kind of a bit don't know. He also admitted to being at the shooting originally, but then they proved he wasn't there.
Yeah.
So there was a number of things that fell apart in terms of if they were going to put him on trial, that they ended up dropping the charges on him.
Yeah.
As long as he remained a witness for the remaining 4 that they were putting on trial. So his story...
he'd overheard them planning it, whatever.
There was enough in what he was bringing that there were facts that they could use, but it wasn't overly reliable because he had changed his story so much. So the only other physical evidence they had to link this was the shotgun that was found, and it was found at a local golf course by a gardener in a garden bed at the golf course. And that particular shotgun, they'd already worked this out before finding the shotgun, but they eventually had the shotgun as well, that the shells matched shells that had been used in an armed robbery, which had been committed by the Flemington crew.
Yeah.
They had it on CCTV that they could pinpoint various people. So that's where they knew that there was this link between those shells and the Flemington crew robbery. And then when they found the shotgun as well, and that backed all that up. So that was really the only physical evidence they had. Plus then these 2 eyewitnesses being Jason and Wendy when they went to trial.
Wendy being the star witness. They were really pinning all of their hopes on her.
Yeah.
So they all of those charged pled not guilty, and so it went to trial.
Yeah.
And when it came time for for Wendy's testimony, she completely reneged.
Completely refused.
She refused to answer any of the questions.
And because she was in a relationship with Victor in a de facto way, in that she's treated as though she's married to him in the same way. So she's actually not, can't be made to testify against him. It was completely had to be at her. She couldn't,
voluntary. It had to be voluntary. So... can you imagine being the prosecutor and thinking, oh my God, she's going to answer this to this question, this, like they'd prepped her.
Yep.
They knew what they thought she was going to say.
It's in recordings.
Yeah.
They have it, what she said.
Yep.
And now
she's written. They've got it in recordings. It's there.
But they need her at trial to confirm it and say
under oath.
Yep. And she refused to do it. So she was done for perjury. She spent 9 months in jail for it. But that lost them their case.
All 4 were acquitted.
Now, I wonder, because the lawyer for them at the time, our mate, Andrew Fraser, what role did he play in that? Do you reckon that there's a possibility? Is there a world where that was planned from the get-go?
Well, I've heard this theory that they did this so that exactly what we just said, the police and the prosecution thought, oh, we've got this in the bag. So there was no other prep. They really relied on Wendy's testimony as their golden bullet.
They didn't pressure Jason more. They didn't get more out of Jason. He didn't
find, I don't know what other evidence they could have found, but they really pinned all their hopes on this case. So that, the inference with this theory is that they did this on purpose so that Kath could then get on the stand and not say a word.
Yeah.
And that would mean that the jury had to acquit because there was no one, he said, she said, no, I wasn't there. I was at home. Oh, okay. Well, there's no one to corroborate either way. So the jury had no choice but to acquit. And the 4 men walked free. Now, I think it's funny that Wendy ended up in prison after that for perjury. Like after these 4 men have more than likely killed these 2 innocent police officers, and Wendy's the one who goes to prison for 9 months for perjury. Fuck off.
I know. So and the others all walk free. I mean, they already had Victor in jail for something else at the time.
So that was the crime I was talking about at the start.
Yes.
I think that was an armed robbery.
Yeah. Because there was another point where Pierce was on trial for so he was in jail and he was charged with drug trafficking at the time, right? And it was suggested by his older brother, Dennis, that, couldn't you just shoot your heavily pregnant partner, Wendy, in the foot so that out of compassionate grounds you get granted bail?
But the other thing is, apparently Wendy was like, well, if I wasn't pregnant, I'd let Dennis do it because he'd know where to shoot so it wouldn't hurt that much.
So, she fully thought, yeah, sure, okay, I'll go with that. But then when they decided to not do that, instead, during the trial, she stood there, wet her pants, told the court she's gone into labour. She hadn't. Her waters had not broken.
Nope.
She literally purposely wet her pants.
It was urine. Oh, God, these people.
So that the trial had to be, he could go to get on bail so that he could be with his wife who was giving birth. She wasn't. She didn't go into labour.
Nope.
I mean, these people are fucking
they're
awful
fucked.
people.
They're fucked. Yep.
There's a quote here about Wendy and the kind of person she was that I just think is, chef's kiss.
Is this the Darren Hinch?
No, not even there yet.
Oh, I can't wait for this.
No way. So this just sums her up. That she is a walking contradiction. She's cunning and naive, vicious and vulnerable, exploited and an exploiter. She has inflicted more pain and suffered more tragedy than anyone should in a lifetime.
Yeah, I think that's so true.
It is.
Her life is equally, she's as much a victim as she is a perpetrator. That is so true.
Like, she's someone who she fully, and when you see interviews of her and everything, you see someone who has been through hell.
Yeah.
And you're like, she knows, she is fully cognizant of the fact that her life is fucked.
Yeah.
But is not willing to change any of it. Like, she is just a walking contradiction. Yeah.
So, their youngest son was born while she was serving time in prison for that perjury charge.
Yeah.
And they named him after Justice Frank Vincent, who was the Walsh Street trial judge. Named him Vinny.
That's insane.
Isn't that gross?
Yeah.
As that judge, wouldn't you be like, no, please don't. No, thanks.
Don't want any connection.
I don't want anything.
Yeah. Oh, that's just crazy. I don't know. So, I mean, the fact of the matter is that even later it was 2005, Wendy came out publicly and is on the record as saying, those 4 did it. I know they did. And what I said in the interviews is true. My lie was not sitting on the stand. They should never have been acquitted. That then brought about an inquest.
Yeah.
Which she then reneged on that and said, I'm not taking part in an inquest.
Although you can be
She was,
summoned.
yeah, she was summoned on that. Yeah. Yeah.
She said that. So there've been a lot of interviews with Wendy. Actually, she's
Yeah.
not quiet.
Oh, no. She's not quiet.
In one of the interviews where they were talking about, so the reporter asked her about Victor, and after he'd come out of prison for those, was it the drug? Might have been the drug trafficking charges. Actually, she said he is not a monster. When he gets out, we just want to be left alone. He's a family man with family values. He's one of the best fathers you could see. No one has anything to fear from us.
Oh,
Sure.
okay. The family are just absolutely gross.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and this goes beyond just Victor then.
Yep.
Their daughter, Katie.
Oh my God, yes.
So, Katie and her mum, obviously cut from the same cloth.
Yep.
This is horrific.
Oh, this is horrible. For so many reasons.
So many reasons. Oh, something I should say about Katie too. So this occurred in 2009. However, prior to this, because in 2009 she was 24, her mum and Katie decided to put a bit of they wanted to assault a particular gentleman. So they asked a man by the name of Tong Yang to assault a man by the name of Robert Sales. Now, Robert Sales was just the father of a girl who was dating Katie's ex,
Yep.
right? That's
So he had no connection,
No
really to
connection.
him at all.
no. So for $200,
I was going to say it was like $200. They
$200.
paid this Yang to...
they paid him Tong Yang to assault him. That were the words they used, to go and do this. So Tong Yang went down to the Clare Castle Hotel in Port Melbourne, and he used a meat cleaver to seriously injure this person. He caused a deep, long gash across his face, 3 fractures to his jaw, broken teeth, and facial nerve damage. Now, Robert Sales was not the person who ended up with those injuries. He was at the Clare Castle Hotel that night. He got up and went and had a cigarette, whilst a poor bloke by the name of Mark Louse was hacked across the face with a meat cleaver and had no knowledge of any of these people. It was complete mistaken identity. He had serious injuries that
Lifelong, yeah.
lifelong injuries. The judge in the case stated that it was the worst example of intentionally causing serious injury he had ever seen. I mean, that's a huge
You don't
statement.
take a fucking meat cleaver to someone's face. Like, even...
Who takes a meat cleaver to the hotel? I don't. What the fuck? But so Tong Yang pleaded guilty to that. So he got his charges, but Katie and Wendy, they both pled not guilty. So
They were charged with attempted murder, I think.
yeah, attempted murder and intentionally causing serious injury.
Okay.
So they were just as culpable as the person who inflicted it.
Yep.
Was what the court was saying. But they both pled not guilty to that. Katie was bailed at that point, whereas Wendy was not. So Wendy was put in jail at the time. Unfortunately for Katie, though, she on bail then went and OD'd and passed and died on
She died at
15th
home.
of December in 2009. They did allow Wendy out for a funeral though, but yeah, that's all. But she spent a fair bit of time in jail for that.
It was years, I think.
Yeah, she got years for that. Yeah. They're just unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. Like, hold on. Instead of, I don't know, I could almost understand them going after the ex-boyfriend maybe.
Oh.
But the ex-boyfriend's new partner's dad?
Yeah.
That's
what
just...
part in that? And then to then get a mistaken identity on that as
Also,
well.
What were they hoping to achieve? Like, that just makes you look...
And he's your ex-boyfriend. Like,
Yeah,
move
he's
on.
not your current boyfriend. Yeah,
No.
Get over it.
Move on. He's done.
I can understand why he's done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Stay the fuck away.
Stay the fuck away.
Yeah, and I just find that interesting that it's the daughter more so than you hear about even his sons being involved in these crimes. That's next level. But
There's
Wendy,
not a lot of information out there about their sons.
no.
Katie's really the only one who had notoriety in
Yeah.
that respect.
Absolutely. I mean, that's not the only incident where she'd
No.
spent time in jail or
No.
anything either.
Yeah.
So she was known to be an issue.
Yeah. I think she and Wendy had actually served some time at the same time in Dame
Oh,
Phyllis Frost.
the two of them were really bad together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she was 24 when she died. I mean, how
know.
much could
The
you get
fact-
into
I
before then?
know.
Oh, God.
Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. But Victor Pierce did come to an end too, though. Mm-hmm. So we can talk about his
Absolutely.
eventual death, which was
Yes.
interesting.
His death was, I guess, interesting. So he was actually, he'd been having a coffee with Wendy and Katie, I think. So this was before Katie's death.
Yeah.
And he'd been having a coffee with them in Bay Street, Port Melbourne. They'd walked home. So by this stage, they'd moved from their house in Rowville to Port Melbourne.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is back in a time, it's not what Port Melbourne is today.
Well, 2002, because I mean, I spent a fair bit of time around Port Melbourne not long after this.
Okay.
Like, kind of time. Like,
I think it changed not long after this. I think this was a real sort of flip around. But I mean, you still had the Dockers Union
True,
at the
yeah.
time, and
Yeah.
you know, so there was still a fair bit of shady shit possibly going down in that area at the time. Anyway, the Painters and Dockers Union, was it?
That's right.
And anyway, so Wendy and Katie have gone to walk back to their apartment house, wherever it was they were living in Port Melbourne, and for some reason Victor stayed behind. I guess the theory is that he stayed behind because he was there to collect money, like from some kind of drug deal, or we don't really know the exact circumstances. But he was essentially executed literally minutes after Wendy and Katie left him. And he was shot down by two men in a car, in a cream-coloured Holden Commodore, which is the same, interestingly enough, the same car that they'd stolen and used to lure the two police officers.
The same make and model,
same
anyway.
make and model.
Yeah.
Not the same car, sorry, the same make and model and colour of the car to lure the police officers. So that's a little curious thing, isn't it? And he was, shot dead in the street in Bay Street, Port Melbourne.
Oddly enough, Katie was taught to drive in that car
Interesting.
that her dad
it?
was killed in.
Yep. So that happened in 1990.
No, that was 2002.
Oh, 2002. Yes, sorry, 2002.
Oh, good. But the person who did that, who shot Victor, was someone else who's very well known in the underworld, Benji Veneman, or Andrew Benji Veneman, I should say, his full name. He was very much known as just Benji. He was pretty much Carl Williams's go-to
Right-hand man.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much what he did was kill people they needed to get rid of. But he was quoted as saying, Benji at the time, he said that if I don't get Victor, he'll just get me first.
Yep.
So it was a kill Victor
Kill or
or
be
I'll get
killed.
killed kind of situation. There was a driver that they did later on, I believe, also charged, but I don't think he ended up going down for it though. But yeah, it was the person who shot it was Benji, who I think it was not long after that he was then also killed.
Yeah, it was
pretty soon after.
I think this was a real time in Melbourne as well where there was a massive shift in that gangland power.
Oh yeah.
So we've gone from having the Pettingills, they were kind of petering out to not being a lot. They'd killed themselves, they'd been killed, they'd been in prison.
Yeah.
And this is now where the Carlton crew kind of started to step in. The Carlton crew, I'm talking the likes of
The Morans.
Carl
Williams.
Exactly, all of those guys.
Yeah.
And the ones who, the Lygon Street.
Yeah. Interestingly, Jason Moran was at Victor's funeral.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they knew each other and they were all like friends.
Well, acquaintances, if nothing
yeah, maybe
else.
that's a better way of putting it.
If nothing else.
Yeah.
Just really quickly, I just thought this was a really interesting little tidbit about Victor Pierce. So when he came out of prison for, I think it was the stabbing, I think, he was at He went to, so he was living in Housing Commission at North Melbourne at the time because he'd come out of prison with nothing. Wendy, I don't know, at that time they hadn't reacquainted or whatever. And he had his daughter with him, right? So he had Katie with him.
Yep.
And so she would have been a young teenager at the time, I think.
Yeah.
And he went to the IGA it was an Asian grocer that was underneath the flats where he was living at the time.
Yeah, right.
And he stole a jar of coffee, right? And he's put it in his coat. And the owner of the grocer figured out what he'd done, and he and many of his mates, some of whom lived in the building, came and they basically sat on Victor until the police came. And it just so happened that one of the police officers who attended that particular call by pure chance was none other than Narelle Fraser. And she said she walked in and she was like, oh, fuck. Like, we're being set up here.
Yeah, right.
We've been called to somebody stealing a jar of coffee and it's fucking Victor. What the fuck? And so anyway, as it transpired, it legitimately was just him stealing a literally $1.50 jar of coffee.
And I mean, the cops would be like, on your way, we don't want to get him for that. They want to get him for the big stuff.
They charged him, arrested him, and he was found guilty of that. Theft for that. But the other police officer who was in attendance with Narelle was a man by the name of Lachlan McCulloch. So he was actually an undercover police officer who infiltrated the Pettingill Pierce clan. The operation was codenamed Earthquake, and he bought amphetamines, cannabis, heroin worth about $130,000 from the Pettingills over the years. And was gathering information. He was deep in, I think.
Oh,
at
absolutely.
This point.
Yeah.
As a result, 15 people as a result of this task force, 15 people were arrested.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what actually came of those arrests and how many were actually prosecuted and went to prison, but Kath and Trevor Pettingill were both arrested as part of that.
Yeah.
One of the quotes that he said was, they were not very smart people. Victor was a real lowlife. And Narelle says that. Narelle said Victor was just not the sharpest tool in the shed.
But Victor saved his butt at one stage because Kath was bit wary of him and was like, nah, we're gonna like,
he's
I think
a clean skin.
they're like, nah, there's something. She thought he was a cop. And it was Victor that stepped in and said, nah, he's fine. Nah, don't worry about
Just
it.
leave it.
Leave it.
Yeah.
And it did them in that they didn't follow up on it because so he's lucky that Victor was a dick.
But then the interesting thing is that he was the one who attended this stolen.
That's hilarious.
Like just by pure chance that he then arrested Victor 6 or 7 years later.
Yeah, just happened to walk in on that.
Stealing some coffee.
Oh,
and
wow.
Apparently they both thought, this is a setup for sure. We're going to get killed here.
Yeah, you were after him.
Yeah.
Like, God. Yeah. Crazy. But yeah, Kath did. That's one stage where she did go to jail, and she did spend 18 months in jail for that one. Yeah, for all that. Yeah, they didn't get done.
That's a pretty light on. Pretty light on, given everything she was involved.
All the things that they did, and that we know about that they did, because there are witnesses to all these things, but at the time wouldn't speak up. These people talk about it. They won't go on record and go, sit in a jury box, sit in a witness stand, and give this evidence because they're shit scared.
Yeah.
But we know they were involved in so much stuff, and for the stuff they were involved in, they have done minimal time. Even like Peter Allen in the family having done 28 years, and that's the most of any of them that have done. When you think about it in terms of the amount of crime and the level of crime, God, they've got away with a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they were in prison for one of the stints, Victor actually met Chopper Reed. Or actually, they'd known each other since they were about 14 years of age.
Yep.
And so, but they'd met up in prison at some point, and Chopper basically says that Victor confessed without confessing to him that he'd done the Walsh Street shootings. It was like a wink, wink, nod sort of a thing.
This is the thing.
Do you not know what I think is so funny? So Chopper put in an obituary in the Age newspaper, I believe it was, when Victor died.
Yes.
And it said, "Don't worry, Vic. Kath will keep an eye on things." Chopper Reed.
Oh, God.
We all
He
know,
just-
Kath with her one glass, one eye.
keep her
Keep
eye
an eye
on it.
on things.
Chopper would have loved himself sick for that.
Loved him. Oh, I mean, you know what? I love
I
it.
think it's great that he.
I love it.
Yeah. Jesus.
So good, yeah.
Oh God. Oh, can we bring up Darren Hinch? So when you were talking about
Please, I
before.
have been waiting for this. So do yourselves a favour after
Absolutely.
we finish
Actually,
here.
do you know what? I'll link it. I'll find it again and I'll
Okay.
link it. Okay.
Do yourselves a favour and listen to this because it is like the most well, it's uncomfortable, but it's also like you cannot not listen.
No, it's gold.
Yeah.
Absolute gold.
So Darren Hinch was a talkback radio
Yeah.
shock jock, I guess, and he had said, I mean, he had very strong opinions on a lot of different things.
Oh, yeah.
But he had said some nasty shit about Wendy Pierce.
Well, he had, because this was like just after Victor Pierce had died.
Yep.
And Wendy went to the media to try
Yeah.
and find out who. She was desperate to find who did this, and she thought that whatever level that everyone else would care as much as she did about who killed him. Everyone else is basically going,
Thank fuck.
Oh fuck, he's dead. Thank
God.
goodness. The cops are probably going, okay, well, just another one of our issues gone. Like I don't.
Yeah.
She genuinely thought the police were going to be like, oh, we've got to find who killed him. They probably already knew.
Who
They were
killed
like,
the cop killer?
Who killed him? I don't care because he killed two of us. Like, yeah. So, but she went to the media kind of going, she put up I think a reward as well.
Yeah, she
herself.
put out of her own money.
Yeah.
I can't remember how much
It was
it
like
was. off the top of-
150 grand.
Yeah, it was something like
something
that.
considerable at the
Oh,
time.
yeah.
Whatever it wasn't, but not millions.
Not
but it was
life-changing.
150 grand. I want to say.
I feel like I have read that. I think you're right.
She put it up, and it was her own money. She was putting forward to for information to come forward. And so Darren was like basically calling her out, going like, "Are you for fucking real?"
Yeah. Who the fuck do you think you are? Well,
well.
please read some of these quotes. Oh my
Some of
God,
this
they're
shit.
so good.
First, very early into it, I love this. He calls her a hypocritical mole.
Mole, bring back the mole.
Bring back mole. I think we should use mole more often.
I was at work the other day and I said to my work wife something about, you mole. And she's like, she just wet herself.
No, let's do it. I want to bring it in.
Right.
We're using mole more often.
Okay, done.
Yeah.
Happy.
My mum will be up for that too, I reckon. She loves that word.
Does she? Oh, Pat, just don't go calling me a mole, okay?
Oh, you're not a mole. No. Tart maybe. But oh, God.
Yeah. No comment. No.
He also called her a gangster mole,
Oh, I love it.
which she took a particular offence to.
Yeah.
And I just think that she argued endlessly with him in this about whether or not Victor or her were gangsters.
Yep.
And I referred to this in our previous episode because she had genuinely was trying to argue the fact that they're not gangsters because they're not Italian.
Yeah.
And don't live in America.
Yeah.
And stuff. And she was like,
She had
Al
some-
Capone's a gangster. We're not gangsters. You're freaking
gangsters.
gangsters. And not in a good way.
No.
No.
You're living off stolen money that people died to protect. Like, fuck off. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. It's unhinged. Oh, this Darren Hinch interview. I just love it.
It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. She is just so
He just calls her out on all of it. He could not give a fuck.
He calls her a self-centered bitch. Like, I mean, this is on radio, like live radio,
Yeah.
live.
Yeah.
There's no button to press to like just dump it. There's none of that. This was going out live to air, and he did not hold back.
No.
And neither does she.
No.
But the way he speaks to her.
But then she also threatens him at the end
Yep.
of that, doesn't she?
Yeah.
She basically says, well, you're lucky you're not,
Yeah.
you
He starts,
you
so
wanna-
you're going to threaten me, are you?
Yeah.
I mean, he had many people threaten him over his career.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
I
And
mean,
not-
he was that kind of antagonistic, journalist or whatever
absolutely.
he is.
It was his
personality,
shtick
but-
entirely
Yeah.
to wind people up like this and get their reactions.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he got her damn well.
Oh, yeah.
She really came to the front.
So good.
Oh, listen to it. It's so good. I will link it below at the YouTube audio of it. It is
Thanks. Yeah,
just
awesome.
great.
Very good.
Bring
Oh
back
my
more.
God. There is so much more to this story. If you want to know more, there is you know what, actually? I was going to say there's a lot of content. There's a lot of written stuff out there.
Yeah.
There's stuff on YouTube, little clips and stuff. But there's not a lot of podcasts about it.
No, it's
There's
not.
not a lot of longer form stuff about it, and which I find really interesting. But then
Yeah.
I also know, like, you know, there are people in this story who are still alive.
Yeah.
And so, you know, there's
Kath's still
Kath's
kicking.
still alive, yep.
I mean, obviously Victor's not, and neither's Dennis. Peter Allen, the second eldest brother, I believe he is still alive, I think. He lives not far from Kath, down at Venus Bay, I feel.
Yep.
There's a few of them still around. Oh, I think Vicky,
Yep, no, you're right.
Jason's mum, Vicky, she's still alive.
Yes.
But that's about it out of their
it.
crew.
That's about it.
Yeah, but they're a force to be reckoned with. I mean, yeah, they're all very under the radar now.
Yeah.
But, oh, wow, that was a time.
That was a time. One of Kath's nicknames as well. Have you heard Granny Evil?
Oh, Granny Evil. Yeah.
Sounds about right.
It does, yeah. If you look up Granny Evil, she pops up. And you'll see photos of her. I'll put some on the socials and that too. Like, she looks evil. Like, the eye thing gets me when she's being interviewed. I can't.
It's really, I mean, you can't not look at it.
Yeah, you look at it and you look away.
Yeah.
But, well, she can't see me anyway.
You sure? Are you sure about that? Yeah.
Look in your good eye.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Oh, dear. All right. Well, I think that brings us probably to the end of what we were going to discuss today. As I said, this is far-reaching if it's something you want to read more about. But definitely have a read of The Matriarch, the book that was written, because the little bits of that I have read are fascinating, and I am going to read the rst of that.
Yeah. I think I'll go back to it when I get some time.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to also just at the end of this say and bring it back to victims that the two police officers who were killed, they haven't had the justice they deserve.
No.
The role and effect of that, of the entire police force then feeling that, I have a lot of sympathy, and it's particularly, I think, at the moment, as you were saying, like with what's going on in Victoria currently, it does not lose impact on me whatsoever. The fact that these poor men, and like one of them had their family are police officers. It was his brother and his dad were also serving police officers at the time. It's just horrific for their families to feel that. So
I can't imagine it.
No, I can't even imagine. And to then be used in this scenario, like, and they were pawns in this of like to get, revenge kind of stuff and then to be manipulated through this with the court system, and her pulling her testimony at the last minute. I can't even begin to understand how that family would feel that these people then walked away from that.
I can't either.
When it's
so
become
unfair.
very clear from what people have said after the fact, obviously double jeopardy means they couldn't be retried, that, Wendy has come out since. The video recordings exist.
Watch them. Yeah.
They exist. She did say this stuff and it made far more sense than her not saying it.
Absolutely.
The information that she said was true.
Yeah.
She didn't make any of that up. Whereas I think Jason's testimony was a bit made up and a bit factual. There were bits in there.
Yeah, I think for him though, he was so young.
Yeah.
And petrified.
We should say he's still in protective custody and his mum to this day. Mm-hmm. So they have no contact with the rest of them. So, it's just, again, that ripple effect. It's huge, the amount of people impacted. And, those police officers most certainly did not deserve what they got on that night.
No way. I mean, they were so young. They hadn't even had a chance to live their lives.
No, so much potential. Yep. But we can wrap it up on that somber note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, stay with us next week. We are going to cover the case of Ruby Frankie.
Very different shift.
Different case entirely.
Yeah.
So stick with us for that one. And as always, please continue commenting, liking, sharing. If you can share this podcast with one other person who you think might like it, it would go a very, very long way in helping us.
And hit that subscribe button on whatever platform you're listening to us. That goes a long way too and puts us out there. So we're rating on many of the podcast charts and things, which is amazing. So hopefully the more people that hit that button, the more we spread as well. So thank you.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next week.
Stay curious, crime besties.
Bye.
I missed my hands.
God, we've been doing this for 60-something episodes. You think you'd have it? Well, we haven't been clapping for 60. Okay.
We've been clapping from the beginning, I think.
Have we?
I think we
I
have.
feel like we didn't know why we were clapping at the
Oh,
start.
yeah, no, that's the thing. I think we clapped, but we just didn't know why. Peter said to
Peter
clap,
told
so
to
we
clap.
clapped.
Oh, God. All right.